You can find 1,000 reasons to not spend an hour a day moving your body. What worked for me with this is scheduling it, literally scheduling it on my calendar. Because if I have, say, a dentist appointment on Wednesday at 2, I'm going to go to it because it's on my calendar. I've made that commitment.
Johnny Steiner never played sports as a child and rarely thought about exercise. But at age 30, everything changed. Now, as the director of worship arts and music at Church of the Messiah in Westerville, Johnny balances his passion for music with an active fitness lifestyle. A certified fitness instructor for the YMCA, he can often be found running races across Central Ohio. Listen in to hear what sparked his transformation. Hi, Johnny.
Hi, Kay.
Thanks for joining us today.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Today, our topic is wellness. And so for those who don't know you, you happen to be a person who is very physically fit.
Oh, boy.
No pressure. And we want to know, how did you start your wellness journey?
That's a very good question. I grew up in a family where no one was a fan of sports. So there was never a game on the television in my household. I have 2 older sisters. Neither of them were ever on a team of any kind, nor was I. I was on the speech and debate team in high school, but no athleticism in my family. But when I was about 25, I thought, I need to do something. Looking at the genetics that I have, I thought I need to move my body somehow, some way. And I always thought of it as a drudgery, like some sort of punishment. Like, if I want to eat these pancakes, then I have to go do X, Y, Z. But I finally came to the conclusion that what I like to do physically was swim. I always liked swimming as a kid. So it wasn't until my 30th birthday. On my 30th birthday, I drove to the YMCA that I pass every day of my life. And I would just drive on by. And I thought, I know that the Y has a pool and I know that they offer swim lessons. So I said, do you do swim lessons for adults? And they did.
So you really didn't know how to swim?
No. I mean, I could,
Not drowned.
Not drowned. Exactly. But I didn't know how to swim. And so I took swim lessons as a 30-year-old with 2 guys who were going into the Navy. And then a woman who was deathly afraid of water and wanted to overcome that. That was the class.
That was
it. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty wild. So before you went to the pool, did you test some other sports to see if you liked them?
No.
Or nothing?
No.
So cold turkey 30th birthday, in the pool you went.
Look, I have to do something. Because as a musician, I found that while I was very busy, I was often sitting at a desk or sitting at a piano bench and not moving. So,
what would you say were the first benefits you noticed?
When I started swimming?
Yes.
It took a bit. It didn't happen immediately, but I started feeling better, overall feeling better, just feeling more energetic. And I know that the sports clubs that advertise on the radio and they say, one of the benefits is you'll be more energetic. And I always thought, yeah, I'm going to be more tired because I'm exerting myself, right? But it's very true. It's very true. After making it a habit and scheduling it as part of my daily routine, then I did find that I was more energetic. And then I met people there, and then I'm a people person, so that was a catalyst. As soon as you have a buddy who's expecting you to be there at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday and you don't show up, they want to know. Yeah, they want to know where you are.
So as I'm hearing you speak about this, I can almost visualize you being in the pool and then having your buddy there kind of pushing you or encouraging you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to be an Olympic athlete, but just to do your best.
Yes. One of the first people I met at the Y, Jane, she swam in lane 1. At that time, Jane was 91 or 92 years old. And she swam every single day. And she wore this big swim cap, this big pink swim cap that sort of looked like a turban with flowers all over it. And that's what she wore. And she swam at her own pace, but every day. And I would chat with her and I thought, this is an inspiration. At that time, she was 60 years older than I was.
So the fact that she would, number one, wear something that she felt very confident in and that served a purpose to protect her hair,
That's right.
But then also became a conversation piece.
Yes, that's how I started talking to her.
But most importantly, a role model for what it means to look into your 90s and want to be well.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
And I think that is, and something at this point now, what I tell my classes is the point of all of this, the fitness part of it, is not necessarily to look fit, but to be fit. And there's a difference. And there's nothing wrong with looking fit, and you ask anybody at the Y or any other health club, many of them would say, well, I'm here because I'm in a wedding in June and I want to fit into a dress, or I'm going on my European vacation and I want to look good and da, da, da. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the hot idea is wellness, is to be fit.
What does it mean to be fit, but not necessarily in a want to fit in my dress?
Good question.
Mindset?
Something that I noticed after about a year of incorporating fitness on a weekly basis was that I wasn't winded when I went upstairs. I could do 2 or 3 flights of stairs and it was okay. I could do that.
When you are exercising or when you are caring for your body, mind, and spirit, do you feel any kind of a connection to God in that time?
Absolutely. Most of that is when I'm solo. So if I'm running by myself, certainly swimming, and that's a sensory thing because when your head is in the water, you don't hear much, right? So you're kind of alone with your thoughts, even though there are other people around. When I'm running solo, when I'm biking solo, those are the times that I think you observe life, you observe nature. I tend to run early in the morning. So sometimes before the sun comes up, but I love nothing more than when the sun is coming up. There's something about that time of day when the world is still. The birds aren't even awake yet. And they start to wake up and the sun comes up and it's just, you see the majesty of creation
and know who's responsible for it.
Yes. So it's a very good time to pray, I think, and a very good time to collect your thoughts.
So it sounds like you have found a way to, number one, find the exercise that does it for you. Yeah. Like you might not be everybody listening might not be into group fitness classes. Maybe you don't like Zumba, but maybe you like golf, or maybe you hate golf, but you love tennis or pickleball or swimming. I think there's something for everyone. It's a question of finding.
I think so too. It is a question of finding what, for some people would say, finding what's the least horrible. Because some people look at doing a physical activity as some sort of punishment.
I think that some people are afraid of doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And so they won't try it because they don't want to look stupid, or they don't want to feel bad, or they don't want the whole world to know that they couldn't ride a bike 5 feet without being winded.
Yes.
What would you say to people?
I just said this morning because I taught a class at 6:30. I tell them nobody in here does everything, but everybody can do something. Right. So the important thing is you just keep moving. So keep pedaling. If you want to stand up when I'm standing up, do it. If you don't.
And
it's
if
okay.
You were in the pool and you decide instead of doing the backstroke, you want a doggy paddle,
or
no
just
judgment.
Flip over and float. It's okay.
That's right.
Float with your face up though, because the lifeguards get very upset if you do the other.
Well, what you're saying is very permission giving now. And I do think that there are a number of people who think, especially if you were an athlete in high school, you think, well, I should be able in my 50s or whatever to be able to run like I used to, or to do 50 sit-ups. And that's not necessarily always true.
No.
Or that life just, whether it was job choices or you're traveling or whether you have children or whatever, there are always going to be excuses not to do something.
Absolutely. So you can find 1,000 reasons to not spend an hour a day moving your body. What worked for me with this is scheduling it, literally scheduling it on my calendar. Because if I have, say, a dentist appointment on Wednesday at 2, I'm going to go to it because it's on my calendar. I've made that commitment. So I do the same thing to this day with workouts. On Tuesday at this time, I'm going to do that. And I set that time aside. And it's really sacred time is what it is.
Sacred time.
It is. I miss it if I can't do it.
And it's non-negotiable unless there's an absolute emergency.
Exactly.
So another couple questions I have is, you work in a local church.
Yes.
And even though your job is not fitness related, working
Mm-hmm.
at the church, it's as a musician, a very gifted musician, I might add.
Very kind. Thank you.
I know that some local churches have come up with ways of incorporating fitness or wellness within the ministries of the church. Do you have any experience with that, or have you heard of other churches that do those types of things?
I do. So we started at the church where I am. We started the BMS ministry, which is Body, Mind, Soul. And it was sort of all encompassing of things. Run for God, the Run for God program that has been very successful at the church where I am, went under the umbrella of the Body, Mind, Soul. And we have done classes that would have a short run. So we do 6 weeks in a row of walks in the park. Or when our current lead pastor came to us, she did, I think, 5 or 6 Sundays in a row of get to know the new pastor. And it was a walk in the park.
Oh, nice.
Literally a walk in the park. So you just come and stroll with her to get to know her. Things like that. We started a 5K that was a fundraiser for a local charity many, many years ago. Then COVID happened and then it stopped. And we brought it back this past fall. And it was a really big success. All of those things, I think, people look forward to.
I've heard of some local churches too that offer yoga classes or Tai Chi or even meditation classes, things where people can just maybe stop some of the noise that's going on in their life. And like you said earlier, centering themselves and really getting in touch with God in the midst of all of that.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
We're going to do a little challenge here in Lent to see if we can walk from here to the Holy Land. Figuratively, not literally, but figuratively. Can we walk that many miles collectively?
Kind of hard to do that across the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But in terms of the miles or the number of, the number of miles it would take to get there, that's beautiful.
I think that'll be a nice
So how did you pick the Holy Land?
Just because of Easter. It actually, it was a former associate pastor who did a very similar thing during Advent. So let's walk from Westerville, Ohio to the stable.
Well, I think the most beautiful thing about what we're talking about today is there is something for everyone.
There is.
And it doesn't matter whether you're very, very young or even very, very old, like your 90-year-old friend with the fun swim cap. Yeah. And for people who love to swim or people who like to walk or people who just want to sit in their chair and do yoga. There's something for everyone. But at the end of the day, it's really about taking good care of the body that God has given you.
Absolutely. And I feel like we have a responsibility to ourselves, to God. We have a responsibility to our loved ones. I want to be around as long as I possibly can be.
And as healthy as you possibly can be.
Absolutely.
For as long as you possibly can be. I'm feeling a little bit like John Wesley here.
I will say there's a psychology that is very present in classes, in run groups. I'm in a couple different running groups where with body image and people who are, and I'm one of those people too, they feel like they're not athletic enough. They're not strong enough. They're not thin enough. They're not this, they're not that. Somebody else can do it better, can go faster, looks better in the outfit, whatever, fill in the blank. There's a psychology to that. And I think what I have to remind myself sometimes too, you can love your body, absolutely love your body, and try and take steps to become a healthier, fitter version of you at the same time. Those can coexist. 100% can coexist. You can love your body and try to improve it at the same time.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. We really appreciate your time and your energy and the laughter. Would you like
to do a few push-ups before we're done?
Do you know, I could do that. I might shock you a little bit. It might have to be an adaptive version of a push-up. And there may be some screaming involved, but, I'm sure I could do at least one.
I have a therapist friend who suggested, we're talking about anxiety one day, and she suggested anytime you're feeling anxious, to wherever you are, drop and do 10 push-ups.
Did she grow up in a military family by any
It
chance?
sounds like it, doesn't
Right?
it?
Well, I grew up with 2 older brothers,
Uh-huh.
and they were both very athletic
Yeah.
and over 6 feet tall. And
Oh,
I'm
boy.
not overly athletic or over 6 feet tall, but I had a competitive gene. And so whatever they tried to do, I tried to do too. It was not pretty. And there was, like I said, a lot of, screaming and grunting and things, but I did my best. So, but anyhow, thank you, Johnny,
so
for encouraging me, even in this conversation, to get a little more motivated and do whatever is right for me and for my body and my schedule. So thank you so much.
You are welcome, and thank you.